Hi, this is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. I want to teach about the things that don't define you in your life. Because many times we confuse ourselves by picking up things that we think that they define us. And sometimes we have been defining ourselves with things that don't define us, and therefore we find ourselves confused and not being progressive in life. Now, to you as a young man today, I hope that you'll follow this because we want to teach a little bit about things that don't define you in your life. And I want you to be aware of that because when something doesn't define you, don't define yourself with that. And that's something that's very important that we emphasize that. Especially young men, as you grow up, you have actually started seeing peers or even people ahead of you that have actually defined themselves through some things that they define themselves with that should not define them. And as a result, you've actually adopted that tendency of picking up some things that you think they should define you while they're not supposed to define you. The first thing that should not define you as a young man is your mistakes. Please, your mistakes should not be defining you. Your errors, whatever you do that is wrong, must not define you. And I know it is actually a temptation sometimes to look back on our failures, to look back on that which we could not do right, things that we have done as mistakes in life, and then we define ourselves with that. And as a result, we live a life of failure continuously because we think that our previous mistakes are defining us. Now, some of you as young men might have engaged in drugs in the past, but now that you've been rehabbed, you've been delivered, and you are somebody who doesn't use drugs anymore. So please don't condemn yourself. Please don't think that those mistakes should follow you. Refuse to allow those mistakes to define you as well. And I know that many people would have called you names by the particular habit that you had. And those habits were mistakes in your life. And then you find that you want to define yourself with that. And you fail to progress and continue in your life because you think that this type of behaviors and mistakes, they have actually defined you. And I want to urge you to be careful of that as a young man, to say you're not going to be defined by your previous mistakes. And I know some of you as young men, you grew up and in the beginning as you were growing, you had mistakes like having children before you got married, while you were still young and so on. And I want you to rise up above that. And I want you to be aware that that cannot define you. It may be that you had a child while you were still young, but support your child, please. Make sure you support your child, but let that not define you. Because that was a mistake that you've made. Because also when you don't allow a mistake to define you, you will refuse to allow that mistake to happen to you again. Because remember that mistakes, when you repeat to do them, that become a time waster in your life. When you repeat the previous mistake or the past mistakes, that delays your life. That makes you not to progress. And therefore, that will define you. And I want to be careful of that. That don't repeat the same mistakes as well, because when you repeat same mistakes, they hold you not to progress, and that is exactly what will end up defining you. Now, as a young man, I want you to be aware of that I'm not going to fall into the same mistakes, number one. Number two, also, I'm not going to allow every mistake that I've done in the past to define me, to try to give me a name, to try to make me feel I'm like my mistakes. You cannot be your mistakes. Remember, you are a unique individual with the power to rise up and to succeed. You are a powerful individual who is able to rise up from mistakes and do better things going forward. And you cannot repeat the same mistakes as well because you have conquered that mistakes, because you have been able to identify that this is a mistake. And please pledge on yourself to say, I'm not going to repeat that mistake. And don't allow those mistakes then to give you a name, to hold you back, to make you feel like you're not worth it anymore. Because there are some of us, when we have done mistakes, then we think that we are total, utter failures in our lives. And I want to urge you as a young man to understand that for the fact that you've done a mistake, it doesn't make you an utter failure. You might have done a very terrible mistake that has actually even damaged your reputation. Remember that only if you correct that mistake and start making that mistake not to define you, you are going to regain your reputation. Don't be condemned forever. Don't tell yourself, I'm useless because I've done a mistake. Everybody make mistakes, by the way, but don't allow a mistake to define you. I want you to also understand that there's no one perfect in this world. We all make mistakes. But the difference is, do you make those mistakes to define you? You don't need to do that. And please be careful not to make mistakes define you. There are those of you who also allow their problems to define them. And I want to urge you as an individual that don't allow problems to define you. There are many of you who are in problems right now listening to me. And as a young man, you have got massive problems that you're faced with right now. It could be a problem financially. It could be a problem because your family has rejected you. It could be a problem because you don't have money to go to school. You don't have money to continue with your schooling. It could be a problem because you've lost loved ones. Maybe you're faced up with a situation where you've lost loved ones, and particularly those that are breadwinners in your life. But that is a problem, I acknowledge that. But I don't allow that problem to define you. Because most of the time, when we dwell on a problem for too long, and we don't want to move on in our mental capacity of overcoming a problem with our minds, we end up making that problem to define us. And most of the time is when we dwell on a problem and feel like there's no way forward. Remember that every single problem has got a solution. It's either you forget and move on, or secondly, you look for solution internally from yourself, within yourself, or you look for solution outside. But I must really say that there will be somebody who will have a solution. If you cannot get solutions from a human being, your solution may be from God. But I must emphasize that even when solution is from God, God uses human beings to come in handy to become a solution solvers for you, to become a solution for your life. But please don't allow the problem that you've gone through to define you in your life. And that is the reason why I want to emphasize that don't actually remain stagnant in one place. Make sure that when you have encountered a problem in your life, you move on. And every time you've been in a problem, you move on quickly. And make sure that you forget and pass through and therefore develop an attitude of saying, I'm not going to stay here forever. And this is very important because if we don't emphasize that, you are going to miss it and you are going to make problems to become something that defines you in your life. People that are defined by their problems, they've never been able to move on. And some have actually got to an extent whereby they've condemned themselves so much that they don't see themselves getting better. They don't see a solution actually in front of them. But I want to tell you now that if you are positive-minded, you will see solution in every single area of your life. Don't be negative of everything. Don't think that things will not happen to you. Don't see everything as negative, but start to see things positively in your life. And as you do so, you'll realize that you'll actually start seeing things in a different light. And when you start to see things in a different light, you start to see solutions in every single problem. And therefore, you cannot carry the burden of your problem and think that your problem defines you. Please, let problems never define you because you cannot be defined by problems. Now, I want to finish right here, but before I check out, I want to make you aware that we have got social media platforms like our Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and Micornus Phokane as well. So follow us there. We have got a lot of materials that we have posted in the past right there. And I believe strongly that if you follow us, you will learn out of that. And the good Lord will bless you as you continue listening to us. But remember also our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and Micornus Phokane. Make sure that you click notification button on it as well. Remember, not to forget as well our TikTok account, and I believe that you'll join us there as well. Your life shall never be the same as a young man. Continue with us tomorrow once more as we continue with this topic, and I believe that the good Lord will bless you as we continue with it tomorrow. Allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.